Continuing on with our multi-view drawings, we're going to start with creating a top view on assignment 9-4. None of the rules have changed. All of this information is just being transferred back and forth between the different views. So I set up my paper and taped it down when my straight edge was aligned with one of the horizontal lines, and that way I can use a 90-degree angle to translate all of my width information straight up to where my top view is going to be placed. Okay. Next, to get the depth information, I'm going to need to find the top right corner of my glass box for the front view. That corner right there is where I'm going to create a 45-degree angle so I can transfer information across and over. Easiest way to do that is a 45-degree triangle. So I'm going to place my pencil right at that intersection. No, not there. There we go. And create a 45-degree angle. Now, when I transfer any depth information, which would be the vertical lines from my side view, the location where they hit and cross that 45-degree angle line is where I'm going to transfer them over. Again, keeping this nice and even, same space between each view, and transferring the depth information without changing it, but also not having to remeasure. Okay, one of my goals is to teach you how to work smarter, not harder. Okay, try to be as efficient as possible. So I'm looking at this view and the camera's kind of in my way. So I'm going to redo those horizontal lines because I still am not getting directly on that intersection. And it's important that we get it directly on the intersection, otherwise we won't have the same measurement from one side to the next. So I'm going to darken in that horizontal line again, or that 45-degree. Okay. And this location right here, sometimes this is what you got to do. You got to try a few times, which is why we use our 5H pencil, because it allows us to more easily erase the unwanted lines. Okay, so now that I have my confines of my drawing, okay, my boundaries, I'm going to look at the top view, and it's shaded in what I would see. I would see two rectangles right next to each other that go from all the way from the front of the object to the back of the object. So I'm going to start with my object lines and darkening in what I would be able to see. Okay, there we go. Sorry, my T-square is kind of sticking. Okay, so that's what I would be able to see just looking at the top view. But remember, with orthographics, we have a slight Superman kind of power where we can sort of see through it. So this line right here would be a hidden line. It's indicating that there's information underneath that we can't really see with normal eyes, but it doesn't mean that that's not there. That's called object permanence. So I'm going to take the time to neatly draw my hidden line. Remember, hidden lines are small, even-sized dashes about 1/8 of an inch with about a 1/16 inch space in between each dash. Take your time. This is not a race. You actually save more time by spending it up front to do it right than resubmitting and revising drawings and doing them over and over and over. That just takes a lot of extra unnecessary time. I usually think about it as investing in my time off. If I spend a moment now, okay, that's a few moments later that I can watch TV, read a book, more fun, read a comic book. Okay, so this is my finished top view. I have everything that's visible and hidden displayed. Now the one below it is the first time that we're encountering having to draw a hole through the object. Not only that, but we have such an irregular shape here that we're going to have to translate over 45° and take it to the next side. So first thing I'm going to do, I am going to translate all of my height info from my front view to my side view. Okay, now I just started with those 3 most obvious lines, but there's other information you're going to need. You're going to need to know where the center point of that circle is height-wise, so I'm going to transfer that information over. And I'm also going to need to know where the very bottom and the very top of that hole will be. We won't be able to see the top and the bottom of the holes, so we're going to once again use hidden lines. Okay, now I need to create my 45° angle, but it's not from here, it's from the glass box. So I'm going to close that in with a vertical line, and at that point bring it over with a 45. Now all of your depth information, which would be your horizontal lines on your top view, that's what's going to come over and come down. It's really helpful to have the isometric view in the upper right hand corner, but I want you to remember it's okay to run some lines through this because this is not the part that I'm grading. I'm grading this. So run some lines through it. Just make sure they're construction weight because you want to always work on practicing correct line weights. So now I'm going to, where those lines, those horizontal lines hit the 45, I'm going to drop those straight down. This one's hard to see, so it's probably impossible to see on the camera. There we go. So that's what we're going to see. Looking at the side view, I see a 1 rectangle, 2 rectangles, 3 rectangles. So with my object lines, I'm going to start off by drawing my large rectangle that encompasses the entire view. Okay. Next, I'm going to share my thought process here. Whenever there's a bend, whether it be a 90° or a 60°, even an 80° bend, okay? You know, it doesn't matter what the bend is. If there is a bend, a straight change in direction, there's going to be an object line. And I see an object line here and here, so I am going to, at this elevation, create an object line that goes all the way across. Okay. Also, if I see solid object lines here creating this whole rectangle, I need it to create the whole rectangle on my ortho. Okay, now I see 1 small rectangle, 2, 3. Now this looks really, really long, and in reality it is. But when you turn this and you look at it straight on from one view, it's going to be foreshortened, which means it's going to take the long angle and squish it. It's like taking this triangle at its longest length, and when I turn it so it rests on one of its sides, that line now looks shorter. That's the same thing that happens when we take an inclined plane and we look at it straight on from a different viewpoint. So this is all done with object lines. Now I just need to add in my hole information. This is what we're going to be using to indicate the center of that circle, and you only do it on the side where the hole is actually drilled through. I'm going to create a center line, small dash, 2 lines that extend out beyond the perimeter. Okay, and then I'm going to show where the top and the bottom boundaries of the hole are being drilled through that object by utilizing, again, hidden lines. Small, evenly sized, with even spaces in between. The final thing I need to make sure I do before I turn this in, and it typically is my first move, but I'm trying to get a bunch of videos taken today, I need to put in my name. If you don't know your name, how is your teacher going to know who to give points to? So make sure we are lettering our name with single stroke vertical Gothic lettering. Okay. practice makes better. Okay, and you are all set to turn in your assignment.